I'm not sure what spectrum you are on when you came into 2025. You could have come in anticipating a lot of things or apprehensive about certain things. But today we're going to touch on some of those things that could really be at the top of our minds when we get apprehensive. Now, what I have realized is this: when we have the opportunity of a new day, a new week, a new month, or a new year, like 2025, it comes packed with possibilities. You will have the opportunity to embrace the new. But I know that there will be moments that we will feel undeserving of that embrace. And today we're going to touch on 5 things that we all usually face when we try to embrace the new. And I'm going to phrase them all stating it this way: it's okay if. It's okay if. When you're embracing the new, the first "it's okay if" that we'll be looking at today is it's okay if you don't know. Yes, I know. Some of us came into this year excited about certain things we've carried on from previous years. Some of us also came into the year not sure what it would look like. I mean, I think one of the questions that I have been asking people of late is this: what are you looking forward to most in 2025? And I know some people immediately they are like giving you a list, but I do understand that there are times when it may not be the same for everyone. And so if you're that kind of person who is saying, I have a feeling that there will be certain things that I will get into that I would love to probably consider and start afresh on, but I don't know what it is and I don't know what it's going to look like and all of that, it's okay. It's okay. A thing that I have realized is this: many times people could know what they don't want. So what I tell them in such a situation is to flip it. If you're coming out of a toxic relationship, for example, it could even be a toxic work environment, and you're like, oh, I don't want a situation where I work with people who always raise their voice. Then you can flip that to say, I want to work in a space where the culture is for you to have a certain tone when you communicate. Or when I'm going into a new relationship, I want the person that I date to speak gently. Now you flipped it from what you don't want to what you want. But when you're starting into the new and you don't know what it is you want, it's okay if you don't know what it is. I would say if you are already sensing it, you're in a good place actually. And if you're someone who really wants something new, you're also in a good place. You just want to ask yourself, would you really want to know? And would you want to give it a shot? So those 2 questions you want to always kind of ask yourself when you're at the place where you're like, I don't know what I want, but I think I might want something. Because really, it is okay if you don't know what you want. The second, it's okay if, when embracing the new, is it's okay if you feel afraid. Now, the reason why we feel afraid a lot of times is because it is actually new. Because it's a terrain you've not experienced before. You want something bigger. You're sensing it might be really, really huge, right? A project that you've never ventured into before, a target you've never given yourself before. And it could be something that will be, even better than what you've experienced before. But I understand that when you've never, gone in a path before, the likelihood is for you to be a little bit afraid. And so in that space, I want you to realize that it's okay. You're not the only one who feels fear when facing something new. It's just the way our minds have been wired, and they've been since we were children, that when it's new and it's strange, we will feel some sense of fear to hold us back and to keep us comfortable. But what you want to look at in that point is, what really might you be afraid about? For some people, apart from it being new, the reason why they could sense fear is the likelihood of failing at that thing. But what I want you to be thinking about differently on this is that until you try, you don't know if you will actually be really good at it. You don't know if you will really like it. And if you don't know if it's something that you want to even stay with at all. So why not give it a shot and discover that? Now, what's the worst that could happen apart from the best that could happen? The worst that could happen is that you would not get it at the level that you want to get it, and then you rediscover yourself, or you would have at least learned how to try out at something like that. Some people say that they'll rather trying something and not getting it right than years later experiencing the regret of never giving it a shot. So if you feel afraid, it's okay. The third thing that you shouldn't worry much about as you embrace a new, and it's okay is if you don't know how. Yes, it's okay if you don't know how. And I've shared this before. We had a series last year that we started the year with, Begin with the End in Mind. It's on our YouTube channel, The Polished Lens with FolaFayo. If you've not listened to any and you're someone who is always starting new things, thinking of new things, that's one series that you want to lock into all the time. And we've done it in parts. So if you're someone who is looking at something new with respect to your faith or with your career or with finance or relationships, we've done all those parts for you that you can look into. But the first and then the last episode is a little bit all encompassing. So it depends on how you want to start. But on that series, one thing that I shared is the challenge many of us have when starting out on something new and wanting to see the process to the very end. You know, we want to see steps A, steps B, steps C, all the way to steps Z. And when we cannot see that thing, we start to shut down in our possibility or in our minds on what is possible. And then we don't even give it a shot. What I tell people is this: if all you see today is your step A and step B, then give it a shot and start out. Because you never know when you get to step C, if there are variants to step D and you decide to go on D3 as against someone else that will go on D1. I have a background in architecture. And one thing I have realized in the architectural space as well as other design spaces is that even when you have a blueprint, usually there are possibilities of modifying it as you work on that reality you're bringing to the design. And the final work may be like the blueprint, but there could be variants as well. So even if you craft a blueprint and you feel so excited about it, it will change as you go on, or it is likely to change as you go on. So if you have it in your mind now, or if you've now realized that whatever it is that you do today will change as you go on, then you realize that knowing what it is from start to finish isn't a big deal in holding you back from embracing that new. So it is okay if you don't know how. I know that one thing that a lot of us, can also get around this, not knowing how, is when you work with people and they help you to think a little bit into it. Like I said, someone who wants to build a home, or someone who wants to build an office complex, for example, would work with an architect to get a design, a blueprint that all the other workers on the construction would use to run with a vision, right? And in the lives of those that have ideas or dreams that they want to pursue, you want to also look at people you could work with, predecessors, people who have done that before, and maybe mentors who are ready to give you of their time or even of their resources, and sometimes even coaches. But I know that when I have sessions with clients, something that we do always come out with at the end of most of the sessions is like a blueprint, a personal blueprint, a customized blueprint that the person can work with. But in the words of one of my favorite authors, Wallace D. Wattles, he says in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, a day or two to contemplate. If this thing really means a lot to you, you should be able to give it time. But as you give it time and you contemplate on it, the how will start to unravel. But usually, you experience when you go through a fog, as you move with your headlights on, that is when you will start to see the distance or the miles or the road ahead of you. So keep the moving on and realize that it will unravel as you go on. The fourth, it's okay if, as you embrace the new, not just in 2025, but anytime in your life, is it's okay if you start alone. If you've started something recently, right, and you felt that there was no one in the world again, please just give me a thumbs up, because I can tell you that that has been my experience in my work so far. When I try to do major things in my life and I'm expecting a certain group of people will be there giving you all the support, I've realized that it doesn't quite work that way. In fact, I saw a post on Instagram just recently where someone was laughing and, laughing as a statement that someone who is starting out business will say, oh, my best friends, my friends and family are the ones going to be, helping me to grow this business, that it doesn't quite work that way. Now, I always have blessed support from my own immediate family, and I'm grateful that they are there. My mom, my parents, actually, my husband, my children, my number one supporters, and I have some very good friends that are also doing that for me. But there will be times when you will do some things and you will feel alone. And I've realized that there are certain things that actually put people in that place. And if you can think about it that way, maybe you would also be able to extend some grace to people who are not able to support you. The first thing is that they are also embracing their new. They are also busy embracing their new. And the reason why they are not able to be there for you like you want is because they have their new that they're pursuing. The other reason that could lie in you feeling alone in the moment is that they don't even understand what you're doing. And the job or the role that we have to play is articulating what kind of help we want and being able to communicate that dream or that project and then asking for help. Of course, there's another thing that you also have to consider. Those people that you are expecting help from, do they have the capacity? But one thing I have also seen that is very crucial in embracing the new is the audacity to ask for help. And I've studied people around me who usually just ask for help on a lot of things. It could be help when it comes to finances, help when it comes to contacts, help when it comes to ideas and all of that. There's an audacity that is tied to asking for help. So as you embrace the new, if you feel alone, you need to muster up that level of confidence to ask for help, or at least articulate what it is that you need help on and be able to communicate it. And stay consistent as well, because usually when people see how consistent you are with whatever it is you're embracing, they are more likely to step in line with you and support you on the journey. So it is okay if you feel alone as you embrace the new. And then the last, it's okay if, on embracing new ventures and possibilities in a new year, like 2025, is it's okay if you feel like quitting. Yes, you heard that right. It's okay if you feel like quitting. Not if you've not started. If you've started and you now start to see that this thing is a little bit more technical than I wanted it to be, or this thing is rougher than I wanted it to be, or this thing is giving me sleepless nights and I didn't plan for this, yes, it is okay when you feel like quitting. I know those of us who just rounded off our MBA programs last year had those moments when we were like, who sent us on this journey? Who assigned this project to us? And we felt like quitting. But I will tell you this, and it's something you need to note whenever you feel like quitting on a project. And that is when life is actually testing if it really matters to you. So as you think about the new thing you're about to go into, you want to ask yourself, does it really matter? And why does it matter to me? In his book, Start With Why, Simon Sinek also emphasizes how starting with why differentiates you from just anybody else who is doing things just because it's the trend or because everybody is doing it. So before you get to the point where you are challenged with quitting, you want to reinforce your why and your reason for going into that thing so that you can have yourself fully fortified when you feel that challenge to continue to press on. But I'll tell you that it's just a test of how much it matters to you, a test of how much you really want it, and if you will stay with it, because there's no one, if you look around, who started something today that everybody looks up to and appreciates and they didn't feel like quitting, because I can tell you, they did have those rough times and they embraced that moment and then they weathered it till they eventually reach the end. So it's okay if you feel like quitting. And as you go on in the year, I want you to think about this as some of the things that would happen to you as you go on. You might not know what you want. You might feel afraid. You might not know how. You might feel alone. You might want to quit. But it is an opportunity to embrace the new whenever you come into a new period like this, and just realize that the best is possible for you. Now, if you're someone who is listening in today and you are saying, I do have two of these things you've shared with me as the top of mind for me, and I would appreciate having someone thinking through this process with me, let's connect. I look forward to connecting with you. We're going to drop a link in with this video. I'm not sure what platform you're going to be seeing this on, but let's connect. Or you could send me a DM directly, 2025 or new, and let's just have that conversation that can move you to a more reinforced place where you will feel deserving to embrace your new.